how to live stream on TikTok using TikTok Live Studio. I heard a lot of bad things about TikTok Live Studio, but yesterday while I was streaming, I decided to figure it out. And honestly, it was super intuitive. So I'm gonna walk you through the process of getting access to TikTok Live, getting the software, and basically setting it up. To be extremely clear, this is you on your computer trying to live stream to your TikTok account. Let's get to it. So the first thing you want to do is go to your favorite browser, log into your TikTok account. Then you want to click on your profile top right here and you're going to see Live Studio. So when you're doing this for the first time, you're going to have two options. One is going to be to download the software. The other one is to get access to TikTok Live. That means this is the first time and you don't have access to TikTok Live yet. And you have to fill a couple of requirements. Now this is from my recording of yesterday, and it basically explains to you that in order to start by getting 7 days access to TikTok Live, you need to fill those requirements. Long story short, you need to not have been banned for the past 30 days from TikTok Live. You need to not have your access revoked recently, basically from TikTok Live. And then 1,000 followers is what you need in order to get access to the first 7-day trial. So if you have less than 1,000 followers, apparently you do not get access to TikTok Live yet. And then later on, once you do get access for the first 7 days, you will need to stream twice for at least 25 minutes, which will unlock another 180 days of TikTok Live. All right, once this is understood, you can click free download for Windows, or you can scroll down and click free download for Windows. Then once you're done installing the software, you're gonna open it and it's gonna ask you to sign in. You're gonna have the option for beginners to set up now, and it's basically gonna walk you through all the process. It's gonna ask you for your mic, it's gonna ask you for your camera, it's gonna test your internet speed, then it will show you the suggested settings. In my case, it was 1080p at 60 FPS with 8000 as my bitrate. You'll have encoder settings. They have their own codec, but you can also put NVIDIA H.265. You can add stream latency if you want, for example, if you don't want to get stream sniped. And the next setting is gonna be landscape scene or portrait scenes. You can always switch later on. I decided to go with portrait scene because that's what I'm most likely going to stream with. And then from there, you're basically gonna see those bubbles pop in and tell you where everything is. And the first scene already has your camera, is going to have a display capture, and it will have a follower goal already set up for you. All right, let's explain the layout. Up top here, you're gonna have information about the live stream and your hardware. Your CPU, your memory, your current upload bitrate when you're live, your frame drops, your encoder, and then your FPS. On the left, this is where you're gonna manage your scenes. You can create more scenes, and inside the scenes, you're gonna have the sources. The sources are the different things that are going to compose your scene. You'll also see that there's a tab for portrait scenes and landscape scenes. For example, if I switch here, there you go. But you know that most people are gonna be watching from their phone. You kind of want to stream from portrait scene. If you want to add a new scene, you would want to go here and click add scene. Right now I have a blank one and I have the general one. Every time you click on the blank one, it's gonna tell you to add a source. Underneath the scene tab, you're gonna have tools. This is where you can manage your live goal, for example, and you can set up goals that people can help you reach while you're live. Mark will allow you to add specific moments in the live stream, and then highlight will allow you to highlight specific moments of the live stream. The middle, you're gonna have the live preview. So everything you see here is everything people will be seeing, your viewers will see. Top left is gonna be your stream title, which you can change if you go here to edit that. You're gonna see your account name. You're gonna see the amount of viewers, and then you can add a topic here. If you're doing gaming, for example, you can click here and then pick which game you're playing. There's chat and interview, beauty, fashion, dance, fitness, food, music, news, and education. All right, so now for editing, you can upload a cover image for your live stream right here, or just leave it to auto screenshot. Once again, you can pick a topic, so same thing as here, and this is where you change your stream title. Under there, you're gonna find advanced settings, and this is where you can set your stream to be 18+. So audience control is what it means. This live is limited to those aged 18 years and older. If you're doing a sponsored stream or if there's any branded content, you can turn this on. There's also a tab called moderators where you can see which moderators are currently present in your live stream. All right, we can close this. Top right is going to give you data on your last stream. And then under that, you're going to have your chat. So there's two tabs, messages. So people sending you messages. This is where you're going to see it. You're going to read the messages basically. And then you're going to have activity. So gifts, subscriptions, any activity like that. It's basically an events list. You can also have it pop out. So if you wanted to put it on a different screen, for example, just the chat. And then you can view the chat settings here, where you can turn off GIFs if you don't want to receive GIFs for some reason. And then you can have comment settings, which will give you more options. You can turn off comments in general. You can hide potential spam or offensive comments. Mute duration, I believe this is like the timeout duration. If you time someone out, how long will it last? I could be wrong, please correct me if I am. Then there's keyword filters. If there's stuff you don't want people to say in your chat, you add it here. Then of course you can pick and choose what you want to show or not show in chat. All right, we can close this by clicking here. You also have access to your account here, where you can see more tutorials, more in-depth tutorials, or you can switch the language or read the policies or even log out. This is the basic layout and pretty much everything you can do. Now, if you want to add specific sources, you're gonna go here under the list of sources for a specific scene. You can click and you can see all the sources that you have access to. They're divided by capture and tools. Capture is everything that you want to capture. Basically, you want to display if it's gameplay or whatever. So display capture is your whole screen. Game capture is going to be a specific game. Window capture is going to be a specific window. It could be YouTube, it could be whatever. And then you can cast from a device to your computer. It will pick it up. And if you want to grab like a camera, like I have here, or a capture card, you can do that too. For example, if you want to stream like from PlayStation and you have a capture card, like the Elgato capture cards, you can do all that. Then when it comes to tools, you'll have images, text, video, goals. Goals is like the follower goal that I have here. Leaderboard is going to display your top supporters. Alerts or little alerts with sound alerts too that will play when someone gifts, follows. Chat box is if you want to display the chat on the stream itself. So people will see the chat, but you can also, if you're recording or something like that and you want to see the chat, display the chat on the live stream, you can do that too. Link is basically a browser source. For example, I don't know, you're using another service that will display specific alerts. You can use that there, or you can just display a website through there. Or I don't know, an image that is hosted on the internet, you can do that. And then countdown is self-explanatory. You can set up a countdown. Now this is my current setup, but I'm gonna create one just to show you how easy it is really to set this up. You know it's gonna be portrait, so we're gonna go blank under the portrait scenes. And I don't have a game running right now, so I'm gonna put a display capture. Now those are all of my monitors. I'm gonna select the first one. So if you're playing a game or whatever you wanna show, you want to capture that specific monitor. And you can of course drag the corners to make it big. If you want to show everything, this would be perfect. You can also drag to make sure it's centered, or you can zoom in a little bit more just so that people can see more of the game. It depends on the UI and what information you want to display. On top of that, let's say that I want my camera to show. I would click on add source. I would go to camera, and then I would pick a specific source. In this case, Pengo 4K Grabber. It's actually a capture card, but this is my camera. It sees it as a webcam. And then you have option to the camera format. There you go, 1920 by 1080, 60 FPS. Now, if I wanted to, I could put 1440p, 50 FPS, but I don't want to push it that much. You can also add a green screen effect if you are in front of a green screen, for example. You can rotate the camera, but you can also flip it. I love my camera to be flipped. And there we go. There's more settings over here, and it's basically the color range and the color space. Click add source, and there you go. You have your source right there. During the whole process, we had a preview, which is really cool. Now you can drag this up, or you can drag this up as much as you want. If you want to crop it, for example, you can hold Alt on your keyboard and then drag like that, right? You see how it's cropping it? But in my case, I'm gonna keep it like that. You can also press Ctrl Z in order to undo. As you can see here, there's gonna be a lot of options. You can crop, you can rotate, you can stretch it to the screen so that it fits the screen by stretching it, but you don't really want that. You can center to screen. So it's gonna place it in the center of the screen. You can pin it, which I still don't know what that does. I believe it freezes it at the top of every other layer, basically. Then you can bring forward, bring backward, which is the equivalent of dragging it so it's under or on top of, because physically the layers, if I put the display capture on top of my camera, it's gonna be on top of my camera, like this, right? So if I click on my camera and I wanna bring it forward, it's gonna do that, but it's also gonna move it up. So you have two options, which is actually different from OBS. And of course you can delete it if you want. Let's keep this here. Right now it is stretching my camera when I drag the corners, which is not normal, but I'm just gonna improvise and keep it like that. So if you wanna move it down and get everything a little bit more centered, you can do that. And all the options that you have here, even more, you can right click and then you get more options, including the settings and also including lock source, which doesn't feature here. If you are sure of the position and you don't want to move a source anymore, you don't want to accidentally move it, you can click lock source. And now when I click on it, It's not gonna bulge. I can always go back here and also unlock it there, right? I can turn off a source here. All right, now what else do you need as a live streamer? You would definitely want some alerts. If someone decides to support you, to give you a gift, you want to have something that shows that so that you can thank people. So first thing you can do is go down and click on alerts. So right now it does that little ding dong, which you can turn off by clicking on here, but it shows you a preview. It will show up like that. And there's also another layout where the profile picture will be on top. Right? I like this layout more. You can decide on the duration, the color, and everything. You can look at specific previews and set the opacity. So how transparent you want it to be. Okay, so that was general. You can also set specifics for followers and for gifts. You can set up the actual message, name of the user, sent you, number, coins. So if you want to put some quirky messaging in there, yeah. Let's activate this alert. Let's go to followers. It's also already activated. And same thing, you can change the text. You can also add custom alerts directly into here by uploading a new image. You can change the alert sound. For example, this one is less intrusive. You can also set up the minimum amount of coins to trigger an alert. And of course, change the colors here. Preview. There you go. Preview. Nice. Okay, so just quickly, I believe I said that it's going to show the profile picture of the person. It is not, it's just going to show this image. So you can pick which image shows up. Otherwise, this is the exact image that's gonna show up. Same thing for the GIFs right here, this image. All right, now we can add source. And from there, as you can see, it shows it up a little transparent so we can figure out where to place it and approximately what it's gonna look like on the stream. So usually, for example, for a Twitch stream, you want this to be either in the corner or centered out of the way. And in my case, I would probably have my camera down here and then I would have the alert show up here. Another thing that you might want to have is goals in order for people to help you reach those goals, follower goals or gift goals. In that case, we're gonna click add source. We're gonna go to goals and you can pick between followers or gift goals. Again, you have an image that you can change if you want to, and you also have a progress bar, which you can change the color of. For example, if you wanted to match maybe that image, you might want to make it more orange like this. There you go. So now when it fills up, it's going to be orange, right? It's going to look like that. There's more options. You can play around with it, with opacity and all of that. And this is where you set the goal. I have 13,000 right now. Maybe I want 15,000. And as you can see, we're actually pretty close. You can set a description to change the text, I guess, but I'll probably just leave it at follower goal. It's very self-explanatory. So between followers and gifts, it's not either or. You can add each one separately, basically. You just can't add one twice. So we're gonna add a source here. And as you can see, I have my follower goal, and maybe we want that to be a little small and in the middle, right there. So this is starting to take shape. If you want more decoration and you want some production value, you can create your own like camera overlays. So it's decoration images that you can put on top of your camera to make it look good, or even on top of the game capture or the display capture, whatever you're using. So click add source. Let's go to image. I happen to have a lot that you can go find on gumroad.com/gadlevel. Now, they are not made for TikTok, but a lot of them actually have 1080p formats, which means the camera overlays can be used for both the camera and also the display capture. Some of them are even animated. For example, in this pack called Soldier 2, I have this camera overlay and I can add this and I can just place it right there. So I want it to be on top of the camera, but I don't want it to be on top of my follower goal. So I can go here and make sure that my goal, drag and drop basically, is on top of it. Maybe I want my goal to look different now that we have a color scheme like with the red. So I'd probably go here and set it to some sort of darker red. Okay, the camera doesn't fit, so I'm going to lock the overlay, click on the camera, and now make sure that it actually fits. All right, that looks way better. Now, if I wanted to have a background that kind of matches everything, I can probably go back, choose image, and in this overlay pack, you have a bunch of stuff to choose from. I'm gonna go with the background scene. Okay, this is what it looks like, but in our case, it's gonna be the full background. So we want it to basically fill the entire frame in a way. And we can maybe set it like this, right? Now we're gonna drag and drop it at the bottom of everything. And there you go. This could be your TikTok setting. We can probably adjust this a little bit more, make it way bigger like that. So if you're playing FPS games, for example, this is a pretty cool setup. Of course, your game would be here. I don't have a game running right now, but basically this is what it would be like. Now, of course, I would advise you create your own images if you really want it to fit perfectly. I would probably like add a blur and lower the opacity of this image to make it really, really fit, but this is already like a pretty good start. Let me pick this and bring it up just a tad bit. There you go. Boom, follower goal is up there. And yeah, you can be there gaming and that's a pretty high production value stream. If you wanted to have like, if you were taking a break and you don't want to be on camera or something like that, what you can do is add a new scene. Let's pick a portrait. Click add. You could just use one of the images, for example, from this overlay pack. I have a Be Right Back scene, right? Center it and let's make it big. There you go. Let's try to grab a corner, make it bigger. You can set a timer if you want. You can play like a clip since you know in the sources you can add a video. If you have a little compilation of your clips and stuff like that, just to let people wait a little bit longer. This is all the things that you can do. And of course, you can right click to rename the scenes. This one would be BRB, for example. So in my case, I would go between general. This one is my red scene. And depending on the game you're playing, depending on the activity that you do on TikTok Live, you can switch the scenes. For example, this is my general scene. Just waited for it to come up. So this would be like my blue scene, for example. And then I would have my red scene. And when I have to go on a break, I would have my Be Right Back screen. And that's pretty much it. Once you're ready, all you have to do is go click start. If you want to set up like your levels and stuff like that, you go here, audio settings. You can actually add multiple mics. I don't know why you would want to do that, but this is my main mic and this is my default speakers. So if I'm using headphones, this is what you want to set as your headphones and you can turn it down. For example, if the game sound is too loud, turn it down so that you're louder than it, right? You can do a sound check and all of that. If you really want to test stuff, what you can do here is go to the general settings, make sure that everything is good. When you click on record, for example, you can set to where you want it to record. You can set the file format. You can set up hotkeys to start or stop and so many things. And then there's in-game overlay, things that you can see if you're playing full screen. This is where you turn it on. This will allow you to actually see the notifications and also the chat while you're full screen in your game. You can click to activate it here. And then you can set it up. Right now, the default keybind is Control-Alt-O. Click OK. And as you can see, this is over everything. So even if I go to Chrome right here, you're gonna see that this stays on top of everything. You can see the events, you'll be able to see the alerts too. It'll show you your live status, your real-time viewer count, and you can set it so that you are also allowed to comment in there. In my case, I have multiple screens. I'll probably have the chat pop out and on my different screens, so I will have access to that information. And there it is. I believe once you're done, you just click start and you'll be live. I think I told you pretty much everything you need to know in order to start a portrait scene at least live stream that looks pretty good on TikTok from your computer. I understand there's a lot of people that use OBS. I will be making a video on how to get your stream key and how to stream to TikTok through OBS. But honestly, TikTok Live Studio is pretty good. Like I thought it was gonna be worse than that, but it's pretty versatile and allows you to do a bunch of stuff. But that's great. The only issue I've had with TikTok Live Studio is that I use a Wave XLR, and every time I go to TikTok Live Studio, it boosts my volume to 100% for some reason. So I have to basically keep an eye on my Wave XLR. Other than that, everything seems to be fine. Now I have access to 7 days, and I actually need to stream on TikTok. So go follow me on TikTok. I'm at Gael Level, and I'll let you know how it happens. In the meantime, you can also follow me on Twitch, which is where I normally live stream. If you have anything you would like for me to test with TikTok Live Studio, please let me know in the comment section below. I figured all of this out yesterday during my live stream. It took me like 25 minutes, so I believe it's pretty intuitive, for me at least. But anyways, I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching the video. Go out there, make me proud. Gael Level, out.